Good noon, brothers and sisters. Our gospel is quite controversial. Jesus said, the master commended that dishonest steward for acting prudently. You could just imagine if Pope Francis were to say this at this time. He would commend the dishonest steward. I think people on the news would say, oh, Pope Francis is promoting corruption, no? Just lately, our president called in the names of public officials who are corrupt, who had some cases of corruption, no? And then Pope Francis would to say this, no, all those people would say, corruption is okay according to Pope Francis. I think it's quite reasonable enough to believe that that would happen. If you remember, just last week or a few days ago, the Pope mentioned that government should protect those same-sex couples in civil union. And the world was saying, oh, Pope Francis was promoting same-sex civil union. So it's quite controversial. But of course, we know that Jesus was not promoting dishonesty. What Jesus was saying, that how come, in other words, Jesus was kind of asking, no? How come we human beings, when it comes to the ways of the world, we are so creative. We know how to find ways, no? Like BDO, no? Finding ways, no? We know how to find ways. When it comes to making profit, taking care of ourselves, we are very formidable, we are very resilient. But when it comes to being Christian, we are so fragile, we have so many excuses. Sorry, I cannot pray today because of this. Sorry, I cannot attend Mass. Sorry, I cannot do good to my neighbor. I could not help this because of this. We have so many excuses not to be able to do what we are supposed to do as good Christians. But when it comes to other things, making profit, making extra income, doing the things of the world, we are very creative. When it comes to dishonesty and corruption, we are very resourceful. So that's what Jesus was kind of pointing out. We should learn from the ways of the world for our Christian life. Did Jesus not say, be cunning as serpents, but innocent as doves? Saint John Bosco, because he is not just because he is our patron, or Don Bosco, was one of these very cunning persons, but innocent as doves. He made controversial statements also during his lifetime. He said, if it can save the soul of a boy, I will tip my hat to the devil. He said, no? He's willing to show respect to the devil if it can mean saving one of his boys. And another controversy that Don Bosco was at was this. In his time, there was a senator that caused the confiscation of so many church properties by religious congregations, privileges that were enjoyed by priests and religious, they were removed by law because of this certain senator. But this senator was a friend of Don Bosco. And in a conversation with this senator, this senator was saying, Don Bosco, you're doing good work with poor boys, but you will only get old, and one day you will die. Who will continue your work? And Don Bosco said, dear senator, precisely it's you who have put so many obstacles to religious congregations. Are you suggesting that I start a religious congregation? And the senator said, no, it's up to you what you'd like to start. But make an organization that is recognized by government so that you will have rights over your properties and over your work. In front of the church, you can be whatever you want, but be a congregation that is recognized by the government. In other words, the senator taught Don Bosco how to find a way around the law which he passed in the Senate. You see, our world is not perfect. The devil will always find ways and means to somehow get us. But God also gave us our creativity, our own intelligence to be able to do the work that He has given us in our life. Instead of coming up with excuses why we could not do God's work, we should have the creativity and imagination to fulfill them. Somebody once was asking me, Father, how do I know if this is a white lie or not? How do I know if I can lie on this because this is a white lie or that it is not? Then I said, well, make it a policy to always say the truth. Love truthfulness. If you love truthfulness and you are honest, you will know when it is a white lie. But if you are not honest in the first place, everything will just be white lies. So as we journey in this world and trying to fulfill God's commandment, we have to really discern and we really have to pray. And in our hearts, there should be that clarity that we want to do God's work. Just now, one last thing about the world, the ways of the world and the ways of God. You remember last year, the Soji bill was very controversial, correct? No? How we should have this law for the LGBTQ. No, all these laws and provisions, and there was big debate. Well, I'm not giving any opinion on the debate, but I just realized one thing. Being man or woman for an LGBT depends on what you believe. I might appear as a man, but I believe I am a woman. I might appear as a woman, but I believe I am a man. And that belief is so strong, it's so much conviction that they can impose laws to the world and to the rest of the society. Brothers and sisters, I ask you, do we not also believe in God? Are we not convinced that God is important in our life? And yet, how many times are we embarrassed to assert it? How many times do we just keep quiet when there are different opinions and we just say, this is just my personal belief, I'll just keep quiet, this is just to myself. And because of that, we fail to become witnesses of our faith. I believe we can learn also a thing or two from these movements. By their convictions and by showing to the world what they believe, they are able to make an influence. And in this spirit, wherein Jesus was saying, we could learn from the ways of the world, I think we should also do the same. We should ask ourselves if our belief or if our faith is so convincing that we too can be witnesses of it to the world. Please stand.